Lexington police say disturbing surveillance video shows a babysitter abusing a child in her care. What we've learned about the investigation.
An elderly Pulaski County man who is also a Lincoln County business owner passes away in a fire that's now under investigation.
University of Kentucky fans remember him for his basketball skills, but a former player has returned to Lexington to share a new passion with the community.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening. We want to tell you up front, the surveillance video is hard to watch, but a Lexington police officer says it appears to show a woman physically abusing a special needs child in her care.
After seeing the video, police charged the woman, Lillian White, with abuse, and this afternoon she answered to the charge in court. WKYT's Victor Puente is tracking the investigation. It's our top story at 6.
The attorney for that family says they first noticed changes in their son back in June, when Lillian White first started staying with him. This video was taken by a nanny cam the child's mother put in their home last Friday. Tiffany Field's 4-year-old son, Luke, has Down syndrome, epilepsy, and heart defects.
Stop.
Monday evening, Lexington police arrested Lillian White and charged her with second-degree criminal abuse. She bonded out of jail, and at her arraignment this afternoon, her attorney entered a not guilty plea for her. The attorney for Luke's mother says White was hired to take care of the child every Friday and came from a service. Luke requires constant supervision. They say once White began taking care of him, his behavior changed, which led to his mother placing that camera.
Since the time the caregiver came into the home, there were marked changes in Luke's behavior and in Luke's interactions with his mother and father.
White will be back in court October 13th for her preliminary hearing. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Golden says they are looking into the liability on the part of White's employer. He also says doctors are examining Luke to see if he has any permanent damage.
Tonight, investigators say they still don't know what caused a house fire that killed a well-known Southern Kentucky businessman. They say 87-year-old Wilgen Ace Hale died early this morning in the fire on Highway 635 in Pulaski County. Hale owned a car lot in neighboring Lincoln County. WKYT's Phil Pendleton talked to some members of Hale's family.
Despite being 87 years old, Wilgen Ace Hale didn't let his age keep him from doing much.
He was a hard-working man. He was always on the go. There wasn't no slowing him down.
Yet his granddaughter says his age may have slowed him down in getting out of their smoke and fire-filled home early Tuesday morning.
What had happened is they had heard a noise and thought that someone had broken into the house. My grandfather then went to go grab his pistol, not knowing if it was somebody was breaking in or not.
Fire chief says they were paged out about 5, but when they arrived, it was already burning out of control. Inside the home, they would later find the 87-year-old man. Relatives say little, if anything, kept him from going to work in Lincoln County, where he owned A&J Motors.
My grandfather dealt in cars for years, as long as I can remember. Him and my father had done everything like that.
The fire is under investigation by state police and the fire marshal. A backhoe was brought in to sift through remains, and both a detective and an arson investigator tried to narrow down a source. Leffler and Hale's girlfriend Becky dug through the ashes in attempts to save anything.
She was able to get a few things of her jewelry, some sentimental things, but she's lost all of her clothes. Just absolutely any personal need that a person needs to live on.
Officials say the 2-story home is now a total loss, the biggest of which they say is the man who lived here. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
The coroner says Hale's body was taken to Frankfort for an autopsy.
A Republican candidate for State House criticized for some controversial Facebook posts said today he will not drop out of the race. A warning, you may find some of these images offensive. Dan Johnson is running for the House District 49 seat, which covers part of Bullitt County. Last week, Johnson posted pictures on his Facebook page depicting President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama as monkeys. Many people called the post racist, and the Kentucky Republican Party called on him to withdraw from the race. Today, Johnson said his problem with the president is personal, not racial. And he said his posts were no different than newspaper editorial cartoons that portrayed characters of the past presidents. Some frightening moments for two people in Laurel County when a truck crashed into their home, barely missing them. Police later arrested the driver of the truck, 43-year-old Israel Miller, because they say he was on meth at the time. Caleb No talked to the people who were inside the home at the time of that crash.
For 2 decades, the Davidsons have lived on Tomcat Trail, frequently watching cars fly down the windy road, but never imagined anything quite like this.
I just dozed off and she was still sitting up watching TV.
A white truck slammed into the front of their home around midnight Tuesday.
Our bed is right against that window where he hit.
And a car travels almost 100 feet off the road and strikes your house. I mean, that almost seems like an impossible situation, but it happened.
Now, if you look here, you can see the path the truck took once it left the roadway, through the ditch, right between a large tree and a telephone pole, barely missing both, and then directly into the front of the house.
Like a lightning just hit right there at the window, you know, it's just boom.
He says they saw flames flying outside the window and ran out to find a disturbing scene.
My wife seen him hiding all the drugs over in the pile over there, and he didn't ask if we was okay or nothing. He just said, I fell asleep.
Deputies charged Israel Miller with wanton endangerment, reckless driving, and several drug-related charges, including DUI.
On the scene, the deputies located methamphetamine and drug paraphernalia.
Despite being stuck living in a hotel for now, the Davidsons say they are just lucky to be alive.
Thank God we're alive. Thank God we're alive.
They hope to fix the damage, but are not sure how long that may take. In Laurel County, Caleb No, WKYT.
We asked, but Miller did not want to talk to us from jail about the charges today.
We saw a mixture of sun and clouds today with some wind thrown in as good measure as warm temperatures continue across the bluegrass. WKYT's Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey joins us with an early look at the forecast.
Yeah, some of the good stuff out there yesterday, I think even better today, and over the next few days it's pretty much more of the same, but those big changes are lurking for the weekend. So let's soak up this view that we have of our WKYT weather garden where some fall colors are showing off out there as well. Mid-70s eastern Kentucky, upper 70s to around 80 for the rest of the area. That's how we are beginning our evening across the region. And it's quiet, although a little high cloud cover beginning to creep on in along that western horizon should make here over the next half hour, 45 minutes for an excellent sundown across the entire area. So shutterbugs, get the cameras ready. Should be a nice sunset in the making. Warm and windy weather over the next few days. I've got Matthew. I've got a cold front, all impacting the weather across the eastern part of the country this weekend. And then a blast of chill will follow that up. Coming up here in just a few minutes, guys, we'll look at some new data coming in on the latest track on Matthew and whether or not that can actually have a more of a direct impact across parts of eastern Kentucky. Some models say not so fast. I'll tell you what I mean by that in a few.
What's now a parking lot in downtown Lexington could look much different in the coming years. The Lexington Center Corporation announced it's seeking proposals from developers for a mixed-use project in a parking lot right across from Rupp Arena. The 17-acre site is being called the High Street Development Project. Lexington Center leaders hope to bring more people to the downtown area.
Really, it's kind of a blank canvas, and different development organizations might have different ideas of what to paint on that canvas. So this is just to reach out and try to gauge that interest again.
The Lexington Center Corporation points out addressing parking needs will be a condition of any proposed project at that site. Proposals from developers are due November 28th. We have more information on our website, WKYT.com. A Kentucky basketball player from decades ago is back in town, but his trip doesn't have anything to do with sports.
Instead, he's looking to share another passion with the people here. WKYT Sean Moody has the story new at 6.
Wildcats often take interesting paths after they're finished playing at Rupp Arena.
Locke puts it back in.
It's been 30 years since Rob Locke wore the Kentucky blue and white.
So much has changed here in the last 30 years. I mean, I haven't been here for many, many years, and so I find myself driving around in Lexington and getting lost.
He played a little after college, but basketball wasn't going to be a long-term career for him.
And basketball It always ends at some point for everybody, and it did for me at 30.
Instead, he pursued another passion.
But I wanted to be a commercial pilot. Being 6'10", that was always out of the question. So I wanted to fly, and I had to figure out how I can make that happen.
He didn't have to look far.
This airplane that I have behind me, our Boeing Stearman, my father actually bought that when I was 6 years old.
Now it's Rob's. Since 2000, he's run Waldo Wright's flying service, giving open cockpit rides.
Sound good? How do you feel right now?
Rob's based in Florida, but this week he's at the Aviation Museum of Kentucky at Bluegrass Airport. Peter Young was one of his first customers today. Once they're up in the air, Rob lets the passenger become the pilot.
Now we just gently bring the nose up, and we're in the air.
For a half hour or so, Rob shares that passion with people who may never have been in the cockpit.
Bring that nose up a little tiny bit. There you go.
While he spends some time back here in Lexington, Rob hopes to inspire some future pilots.
If somebody flies with me, and we've had a lot of people that have flown with me over the years, and they've gone on to get their pilot's license, I think that helps everybody.
In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
It's a pretty cool ride right there. Locke is offering flights at the museum until Sunday.
It's been a few years in the making, but a Lexington brewing company has now launched a new project here in the Bluegrass. That's next.
Also ahead here on WKYT News at 6, how a tattoo artist is using his art to bring smiles to patients at Kentucky Children's Hospital.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
The Lexington Brewing Company has announced it is now starting a new project on a farm.
West 6 Brewing now has the West 6th Farm on Shadrick Ferry Road in Franklin County. Company leaders say they plan to use the farm to grow ingredients for their beers. And the public will be able to visit to learn how beer ingredients are grown, processed, and used in brewing beer. West 6 leaders say the farm has been in the works for about 2 years.
Usually when children are in the hospital, a stuffed animal or balloons would help cheer them up. But what about a tattoo? A London tattoo artist is bringing ink into Kentucky Children's Hospital to lift the spirits of patients. But this ink is only temporary. Brad Mallory says he's using his talents to draw whatever the children would like, and he hopes it will keep their minds off being sick.
Even if it was just for that moment, it's better to see a smile than a frown, you know? So it's the least we can do, you know, bring a smile to their face, even if it's just for couple hours.
Part of Mallory's mission is to find out who will be in the hospital long term so he and his tattoo crew can come back with gifts during the holiday season.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Just about ready to call it quits for the day is the sun, and it should make for an excellent sunset out there with some high clouds filtering on into the area. Take you into eastern Kentucky where those fall colors getting ready here in the next couple of weeks to really show off. You could see some of those showing up on the Jackson cam, showing up on our WKYT weather cam. Weather garden out back here with some of the brilliant colors starting to show. 75 cool degrees in Danville. All right, not cool, but cooler than everybody else. How about that? Upper 70s to right around 80 degrees. Defender Radar Network, nothing across central and eastern Kentucky, though earlier today we did squeeze out a light shower or two. Remember yesterday I was going on a little rant saying it's not exactly a zero chance for rain, but it's not great enough to put in the forecast. Had a couple of drops on my windshield. That was about it around noontime today. Tomorrow we do it all over again as thermometers make a run toward 80 degrees. 3-day forecast. Not a whole lot the next few. It's windy and those gusts at times may hit 30 miles per hour as we go into Thursday, Friday, into the weekend. And tomorrow and Thursday especially, like today, I can't say that the chance for rain is completely zero. So maybe a sprinkle or a light shower. Then we watch what's going on with Matthew. This is a powerhouse of a hurricane. It is getting ready to cross over the eastern tip of Cuba. Here we go, Bahamas. Here is Florida. And the Hurricane Center forecasting a track that is a Category 4 through the Bahamas. So it's going to cause all kinds of issues there, obviously. And look at that. It gets awfully close to Florida before it tries to turn the corner and head up the eastern seaboard. Depending on which model you look at, a few of those bring it all the way to the coast here of Florida before turning toward the Myrtle Beach area and maybe the Outer Banks. And then what's left of that may try to get into the waters just off of New England. One of the short-range computer models updating this afternoon shows something interesting. I'm not necessarily focusing on the track of this because it is almost dead on with what the Hurricane Center thinks. But look what happens out ahead of this. It has a plume of some moisture that tries to get into far eastern Kentucky Friday night and early Saturday. I've only found one other model that even remotely brings a shower chance into eastern Kentucky Friday night. But you know what? That certainly bears watching. You want to see another interesting view of Matthew? This is the European model. This is one of those that takes it right along the east coast of Florida. And watch that timeline across Daytona, Jacksonville, and very rare to get one here in the bend of the southeast. So Savannah and maybe up toward the Charleston area. So all bets are off on the exact path on where this goes. But yeah, if you're from the Carolinas, you got loved ones down there or into Florida, tell them to batten down the hatches. It's likely a big storm that's going to impact millions of folks into Florida and the Carolinas, maybe up the eastern seaboard. Around here, guys, it's nice until we get into Friday night and Saturday when we get a cold front into town. Gusty winds, shower or thunderstorm possible on Saturday. Sunday night into Monday morning, maybe our first shot of some upper 30s.
Really?
Yeah. We got to see about that one. Depends on what happens exactly with Matthew.
Gotcha.
The big guy.
Thanks, Chris.
Just ahead, speaking of Matthew, but this is a different one. Matthew Mitchell completes his roster for the upcoming season. Rob?
Couple of walk-ons headed for the UK women's team, one in state, the other out of state, and plenty of excitement as Bam Adebayo joins Cal's Cats. Fans figuring he will live up to his nickname. That's next on WKYT. John Calipari has another talented class of freshmen coming in, including big man Bam Adebayo. As Lee K. Howard reports, Bam is ready to make an impact for the Wildcats.
His name is Edris Adebayo, but fans know him simply as Bam.
I was at a young age, I was watching Flintstones with my mom, and I just sort of flipped over a coffee table, and there goes Bam.
And Bam has been living up to that nickname ever since. At 6'10", 260 pounds, Bam is a force to be reckoned with in the paint.
I just bring a motor, like somebody who's not gonna give up on their teammates, somebody who's gonna go hard every practice, every game. Just somebody that doesn't give up.
In addition to having a motor, he's a smart player who cares about the classroom. He proved that last spring when he withdrew from the Nike Hoop Summit All-Star Game to focus on school.
My teachers were in high academics, so it was like you gotta weigh out your options. It's like do I go to Hoop Summit or do I bomb this chemistry test?
Not many high schoolers would trade in an All-Star game for a chemistry test, but the studying paid off.
I'm at 87. Yes.
Bam is a monster on the court, but a gentle giant off it, which may explain why he names pop singer Katy Perry as his favorite music artist.
It's her mood and her happiness, so why not listen to Katy Perry? I'm a happy person, happy mood.
Lee K. Howard, WKYT.
The roster for Matthew Mitchell's UK women's team is now set. Mitchell announcing today that 2 walk-ons are coming on board. Paige Poffenberger, a 5'8" guard out of Morgantown High School in West Virginia. She will be a freshman. Poffenberger made the UK squad after a good showing at tryouts. She was a third-team All-Stater last year. And Lachey Hazel will be a sophomore. She is a 6-foot forward out of Warren Central. She averaged 9 points and 10 rebounds her senior season. Kentucky is a 3-point favorite over Vandy this weekend as the Cats return home for a critical SEC game. The Cats ranked dead last in the conference in turnover ratio. Vanderbilt has not turned it over very much, ranking among the better teams in the league. That's something Mark Stoops is very much aware of.
They're ahead in the turnover ratio, and we're last in the league, if I'm not mistaken, in -7, and that can't not happen. So. We stress it, we coach it. As you know, we've already been down that road, but during that stretch of, when we were turning it over and not playing good defense, I mean, that's a recipe to lose to anybody.
Vandy and Kentucky Saturday, 4 o'clock kick from Commonwealth Stadium. It will be on the SEC network. Rick Pitino going on WHAS radio today and saying that he believes the self-imposed penalties in the escort scandal will be enough to satisfy the NCAA. And U of L is now suing to keep the basketball scandal records from being released. Sam Amber, back to you.
Rob, thank you. A final check of your First Alert forecast with Chris is next.
Then on the CBS Evening News, tennis star Maria Sharapova speaks with Charlie Rose about her doping scandal and her ban being reduced from 2 years to 2 months. That is a lovely look on this October night. We're talking more 80-degree temperatures.
Yeah, next few days we've got 80 back in the weather picture. So if you like today, you're going, as the old saying goes, you'll love tomorrow, you'll love Thursday as well. Opening day out of Keeneland on Friday right now looks really good too. Mid-70s, but a big drop comes Friday night into Saturday with a cold front. Could be a gusty shower, thunderstorm. 64 degrees. May see our first upper 30s to low 40s Sunday night into Monday. But over the next few days, guys, those winds are going to crank up as well. It could be 30 miles an hour.
We know you're going to update the Matthew situation coming up on the CW Lexington. So many people affected in Florida just to begin with.
Florida will get it first and then toward the Carolinas.
All right. He's headed over to the 6:30. I'll see you back here tonight at 11.